Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The wife of a 62-year-old Ukrainian civilian shot dead in the first days of the invasion has confronted the Russian soldier who killed him. Katerina Shelepova stood up in court and asked the 21-year-old what he had felt when he killed her husband Alexander and did he repent his crime. The soldier replied that he admitted his guilt and asked for her forgiveness. Shishimarin claims that he hadn't wanted to fire the fatal shots and that he was following orders. The trial has huge symbolic importance for Kyiv. It is the first case in a list of war crimes that could reach thousands. The group of G7 nations has met in Germany to discuss further financial support for Ukraine. After the traditional family photo, where many of the world's finance ministers pose for a group picture, the gathering then held talks to try and stop the world economy deteriorating further. The group of 7 financial leaders are meeting as the war in Ukraine adds fuel to a surge in the cost of raw materials, while new pandemic-related restrictions in China have slowed down global trade, raising the spectre of a sustained period of high inflation and economic stagnation. Meanwhile, the German Chancellor has said the European Union must make preparations for rebuilding Ukraine after the war by setting up a solidarity fund.
Einem brutal angegriffenen Land.
Addressing Parliament, Olaf Scholz said rebuilding destroyed infrastructure and revitalising the Ukrainian economy will cost billions. He encouraged EU countries to start laying the ground for a solidarity fund financed by contributions from the EU and its partners. The Prime Minister of Egypt has announced the country has 4 months' worth of wheat in strategic reserve. Mostafa Madbouli said shipping costs would be increased dramatically if Ukraine transported part of 4 contracted shipments to Poland by train. Ukraine and Russia have traditionally met 80% of the world's largest wheat importers' needs, but not since Russia invaded its neighbour last February. The government has therefore made it compulsory for Egyptian farmers to sell their wheat to it. According to a new report, 5 million people have been internally displaced in Ethiopia, the highest number of such people registered in a single country. The annual report by the Internal Displacement Monitoring Centre also cites the Democratic Republic of Congo, Afghanistan and Myanmar as having seen their highest number of internally displaced people since in 2021. It comes as a record 59 million people globally were recorded as being internally displaced by the end of last year due to protracted conflicts and new waves of violence. That's an increase of over 4 million globally from a year earlier. Women have protested in Mexico City, marching to demand justice for victims of violence and femicide. Relatives of femicide victims, gender violence survivors, have held up crucifixes and banners showing photographs of disappeared or killed women outside the National Palace in the historic city centre. The disappearances and femicides are part of a broader crisis of violence in Mexico, where annual homicides top 30,000. Since 2006, when the Mexican government declared a war on drug cartels, sparking a surge in violence, more than 85,000 people have disappeared. The Salvadorian Navy has presented a video showcasing a seized shipment of 810 kilograms of cocaine in El Salvador. Authorities cited the low-profile vessel off the Salvadorian coast. El Salvador's security cabinet said the 810-kilogram cocaine shipment found in the semi-submersible have a value of $2.25 million and was possibly destined for the south coast of Mexico. In a change of tone, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has addressed Ukrainians in a video message to wish them health on the day of the traditional embroidered shirt. Still photographs taken in Lviv show women dancing and people wearing the Vyshvanka. Vyshvanka Day was established in 2006 and is celebrated on the 3rd Thursday in May around the country's traditional embroidered shirts.
Бажаю здоров'я. Сильна.
In the video message, Zelensky said, "I wish you health, strong, unbreakable, brave and free. Happy Vyshvanka Day, Ukraine." And finally, a 27-year-old woman has become South Africa's first black hot air balloon pilot and one of just a few female pilots in the field. Mathebula found her way into ballooning after struggling to find employment. She eventually worked as a marketing assistant at a hot air balloon tour company. She said she is keen to be an ambassador for the sport and hopes to bring in more youth and diversity. She will compete for the first time in the South African Hot Air Balloon Championships in June. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.